I can make 5, 10, 15, 20,000 pounds for selling you a deal. It's as simple as that. Property is a product. A sale takes place in every conversation. Either you sell someone something or they sell you a reason not to buy from you. Nobody likes being sold to. The key thing is to ensure that they don't feel like they've been sold. Have been merging all of our business interests into the Property and Entrepreneur Summit. Life is food. I'm booking the vendors before the speakers. You're sitting having lunch on a table with the likes of Rob Moores and Simon Zucci. I had two guys the other day, they brought a vendor to me that they couldn't close, and it turned out her husband had just died. The key thing is
This episode is sponsored by Merry Oaks Property Finance Brokerage. Merry Oaks is a finance brokerage for investors, developers, landlords, SMEs across the country, helping you with all of your finance needs. So whether it's bridging, development, commercial, buy-to-lets, HMOs, service accommodation, industrial, hotels, the whole 9 yards, whether it's for your portfolio, whether it's for your business, we can support you. Please contact us. We've got the link in the show notes, and we look forward to hearing from you. Now, back to the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Property People. Today, I am joined again with Mr. Paul Stapleton. How are you today, Paul?
privileged.
Oh,
Privileged.
bless you. Who was saying so? Yes, there are very few people that have been back. You are one of the very few people that have managed to win my heart, whereby we can have you on more than once. But you're also very, very active in a number of different ways. So aside from the property sourcing, you've got the event stuff going on, and there's some big events going on
There is, yeah.
across the country. You're doing some very, very
Nationwide now.
special stuff. Exactly. There's not many people that are doing on the size and scale that you're doing it, and putting as many smiles on people's faces as because we were just talking before we kicked off about some of the events that are not so interesting.
Yeah. No names.
We'll get no names, but we'll get into all of that. If anybody wants to know a little bit more about Paul's whole background, the first episode, we'll make sure that's in the show notes. But now, just to kick off with this, how have you been? What's been keeping you busy over the last 12 months?
So we have been, Michelle, Rich and I, we have been merging all of our business interests into the Property and Entrepreneur Summit. So effectively everything now is going through that. So education, social events, virtual events, webinars, in-person events. So it's been a very, very, very busy, I'd say 6-7 months. The team's grown massively. Coverage of where we're hosting events at the moment, and the events are so important because they are the entry point into the ecosystem, into the community, for people to find out about who we are, what we do, and more importantly how we can help them.
Yeah, so tell me about the community aspect of building what you're building right now and why that's important.
I think the community aspect is what a lot of events and education companies are missing. There are a handful that I would say are great communities. Like, there are some incredible communities, but most of them are just being sold to all the time. It's hard pitching and it's not value driven.
Yeah.
So for us, it was about what are the things that we think are missing in the event space and the education space, and do we think we can do them well? So the socials were the things that we thought would be the best thing to focus on this year, because the thing that most people enjoy about an event usually isn't the talks, it's the conversations, right?
Yeah,
it's the networking. What typically happens is you spend all night trying to find that one person that you can gel with, and that's either at the end of the night when it finishes or when you're being ushered back to your seat to hear a talk. So we thought, we do the big event annually, tick. We do monthly virtual summits, tick. We do quarterly mastermind events. We do joint venture webinars with some of the biggest educators. So we're missing the social element. And we thought, if we can have 5 to 10 locations every single month where we have a 4-hour solid social, and this isn't in a Holiday Inn function room, these are in tiki bars, they're in Flight Club, they're in Piano Works, they're in Dirty Martini. Like, we've got some really exciting venues coming, one of which you're going to be part of as well.
Absolutely, so. Yeah, we've been part of a couple already. I really like the style and energy that you bring to what is relatively a stale world. I mean, there's been some networking events that have been going for many years, and some of them really do work, and that is what it is. They're almost stuck in time, but you kind of like that for what it is.
Yeah.
But now there's also that gap in the market whereby things just need to evolve and need to be a bit fresher.
I'm happy for people not evolving though, because it just leaves more space for us.
Absolutely. I mean, you always get like the vintage kind of like, the classic Rolex or whatever, and it's got its place and it does its thing. And anybody else that's been trying to copy that probably isn't succeeded, but that one person that's been doing it time and time again, that's got its time and place. But there's you just need always a little bit of a fresh take on it, because I know so many people that are so bored of that format. And then talk to me about the partners you've got and why they've been so helpful and suitable for this growth that you've had.
So we've got loads of partners. Like our biggest thing is that there's no competition, just collaboration. So we've got partners in respect to people like you who partner with us on the social events. So without sponsors, we couldn't put the events on. The events are all free. And we really wanted it to be free, so there was no barrier to entry. So free event, free food, sometimes free drink, depending on location, in a great environment. We joint venture with everyone at the big summit, so we have the biggest names. And the great thing about the biggest names at our event is that there's no pitching. So it's all value driven. Again, you're going to see some of the biggest names in property and entrepreneurship, and you're used to seeing them in an environment where they're pitching 10, 15, 20 grand courses. But at our event, you get 100% of their time giving you 100% value. So those joint ventures are great. And then we've got the online webinars as well. So we have big names on those as well, like the Dan Hills and people like that. So
do a few more name dropping, because you have had some good names on the stage at the
We've had obviously Simon Zucchi, Rob Moore, Dan Hill, Daniel Priestley, Shah Woosman, our very good friend Shah.
I love Shah.
We've had James Sinclair. We've got some great names coming as well this year. We've got Chris Donnelly, who is someone a lot of people won't know, but he is a prolific business scaler to exit. But more importantly, he's the most followed person on LinkedIn in the UK. He's got like over 1 million followers, basically. So he's going to be doing a talk all about lead generation on LinkedIn, which a lot of people don't like LinkedIn. I vouch for LinkedIn. I think it's the best place. So he's going to be blowing your mind on that. But we've got some great speakers that we've had. And we've got great speakers in the future as well that we're working with.
So there's a few that stand out. Obviously, I love Shah. Actually, I met Shah through you.
You did, yeah.
And I spent 2 really quality years on her mastermind stuff. And it was absolutely brilliant, honestly. Yeah. She's such an energy, and she's doing some amazing things now.
She's doing some exciting stuff in the States.
Very cool. Yeah. So if anybody doesn't already follow her, go and find her for sure. You actually read her book, didn't you?
Yeah, it's one of those crazy things. Like when you think about 3 years ago, I read Shah and Daniel Priestley's book on the same holiday, oversubscribed.
I was on the same holiday. I didn't know that.
Do Less, Get More and oversubscribed. And I read those 2 books, and I came back from holiday and I was just super focused, right? Shah's was all about working smart, not hard. And I was like, right, I'm going to start asking for more money. That I need to ask of what I think my value is. And that was like tripling my commission. And then Dan's book was all about stop being that person that goes out and sources anything for everyone, anywhere in the world, and just say, right, I source 2 and 3 bedroom houses under 150 grand in Manchester, Liverpool and Birmingham, and they all yield 8%, and that's the one product I sell. So you come on board if that's what you're looking for. Anything else, you don't. And then it basically means I've got one house for 10 buyers. Who's going to take it? And it's a game changer. And then fast forward to like the next few years, I've got these guys on my stage. I've got them in the phone book. We're having great conversations. Even down to Shah, messaging Shah about my trip to Morocco, asking her for recommendations on where to go and eat.
Yeah, she knows the way around.
But it's like a pinch moment, isn't it? That it's gone from a book and a changing point in your career to these people actually being involved in your life. And like we've had Daniel Priestley twice on stage. We've had him once on the podcast. I've had Shah twice on stage. So it's It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, you have. And I met her through that as well. And she was impressive the first time, so much so that I worked with her for a couple of years. And then the other one that stood out was
You're going to say Paul Avins.
No, I was going to say Rob Moore.
Rob was great, yeah.
I thought he was quite, because he was literally off the cuff a little bit. He kind of like...
You don't know who's turning up. That's the thing. Because Rob texted me and he was like, right, I'm in the car. I'm on my way. I'm just writing my talk. And I was like...
He literally said that on stage as well. I've just made this up on the way here.
Yeah, he's just made it up. And he voice noted me after and he's like, I hope that was good. And I was like, it went down an absolute
there was
storm.
a lot of activity, a lot of energy in the room. We had people shouting out, so everybody was paying attention. And the delivery of it was very good, actually. And he was a bit cheeky as well with certain things here and there. So it kept everybody... So I found it quite captivating.
It was good.
Yeah, because I sometimes think of Rob as quite Marmite.
I think he still is. Because we did have a few complaints as well. But
did you really? It's funny, isn't it? So
but he's a Marmite.
Exactly.
But we're talking like 5 in 400 people. So
and well, exactly. It's probably why he's done as well as he has, because he just basically creates a little... It's what you're saying. Just do one thing really well and... forget about the rest. And then the other one who I do follow a lot as well still to this day was James Sinclair.
Yeah.
And we've got the Property People podcast live there, and we had a sit down with him as well, which was great.
He was great.
And he was very good.
Very animated, and he had all these different boards, didn't he?
He's an entertainer by background, actually. He's a magician or a clown, I think. I can't remember. Or kid's entertainer, we'll put it as a bit of everything.
And then an ice cream vendor.
An ice cream vendor, and he's like built 60 million quid of revenue and stuff.
It's crazy.
So he's done really well. Yeah. So you get some really impressive people on the stage. Obviously, Daniel Priestley's been on Diary of a CEO now and blown up since then.
3-4 times. Yeah, I think when we had Dan on stage, I remember speaking with Dan, and he said, "Don't announce me yet, but I can't tell you why." And he gave me a date.
Oh, right.
And I was like, okay. And he said, you'll like it. And then that day came and he released that he was on Diary of a CEO. And that was perfect for us, because for those that weren't aware of Dan before the first episode of Diary of a CEO, we just had a ton of content that we could start putting out to educate people, and then release Dan once they've been educated. And it was great. Like, Dan came with 800 books to give away, and it was a phenomenal day, that one. And I think what's great about our events is the fact that the speakers stay. Like, it's not a transactional, I'll come for an hour and I'll leave after my talk. Like, you're sitting having lunch on a table with the likes of Rob Moore's and Simon Zucchi's and all the big names, and they stick around for a long time. Yeah,
they stick around for the day, and it's great. So when is the next Property Entrepreneur Summit coming up?
So next one is the 13th of June, Saturday the 13th. We're looking to have about 400, 500 people there. Got the property morning, so we've got the likes of Susanna Cole talking about how you can still make profit from flipping and raising private finance.
She's
because
great
of
as
obviously the issues with finance. We have Dylan Denacha. He talks about social housing.
So okay, it's a big thing. I've moved a lot of my stock into social housing, you know.
Super like relevant right now. What we had planned for this one, we completely changed because we want it to be current. We got a great panel. So we got a property auction and property trading panel. Safe Dersey, Jay Howard, John Howard, and Amy Schofield from Together Finance. So it's going to be a really powerful panel.
Yeah. I know all those guys. I was in with Jay and Piotr, actually. They worked together, and I was with Jay and Piotr in Lisbon recently. Very smart guys.
Yeah, they're cool guys. So we got that. Lunchtime, we've obviously got some great food, as always. And then we've got 4 masterclasses at lunch.
Before we go into the masterclasses, because I want to know a bit more of that, I want to touch upon the food, because again, it goes back to the thing about how you do things with a little bit more style than a lot a lot of other people. And one of those things is this: the fact that you're a foodie.
Because I've got a Lebanese background. I think we know, like, growing up in a Lebanese family, like, life is food. So I'm booking the vendors before the speakers. Like, that's the importance. Is, can I secure the food vendors that I want and then I'll get the
exactly. It's
speakers.
hospitality first. Is basically
yeah.
make sure we get everyone comfortable, and then we'll show them a good time.
Yeah.
So because I know you do a lot of tasting, and you go and like do a lot of research into all of that as well. It's not just like, hey, what's the price point of 3 different options? I'll take the middle one.
Yeah.
You actually do a lot of testing to make sure that this food is. It's quite a fun job if you can get it, but not many people take that level of detail seriously, which I always appreciate, because I think that there are a lot of people out there that want to enjoy, because it's a full day you're asking people to make as well. It's a weekend, so they want to be there to not only educate themselves, but they want to be entertained, they want to have a good time, they want to be nourished.
First of all, what an amazing event this has been. It's my first one. I'm definitely coming back every year now. The quality of the people in the room, once I got a sniff of who was coming from like Instagram and social media, I was like, right, I've got to do it. I've got to be in that room.
Love Daniel Hill. He was great, and Chloe on the property elevator. We're hoping to get on there next year ourselves, so that's super exciting.
Weren't here, why weren't you here? Get yourself here next year.
That's just how I feel. Trying to reach the things that I can't see.
I feel like you've got to feed them well so that everyone stays on site as well. You never want someone to feel hungry and they're going to go off. So like we do breakfast included. People that are in the VIP, they've got an advanced or an enhanced, should I say, breakfast. And then lunchtime, we've got a Punjabi van, which is doing Punjabi burgers.
Amazing.
Which is
delicious.
They're brilliant. I've tried all of them.
I'm sure.
We've got a Caribbean jerk stand this year. So jerk chicken and without the bone, make it easy for people to eat. And a curry as well. And then it went down an absolute storm last year, the artisan pizzas.
Pizzas are
so
very
just
popular.
quick, like 3-minute pizzas, nice thin crust, sourdough, like it goes down a storm. And then we've got baristas all around as well, so people can get hot coffees and also iced coffees. And yeah, you just got we got to think of everything to keep people there. And for me, it's about giving more value than people are paying for as well.
Yeah, no, 100%, and you deliver it very, very well. Every single time that I've been, it's been packed, and everyone's very, very happy. They're all networking. The buzz in the room is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Tell us about the masterclasses as well that you're doing.
So we just did our first one in Milton Keynes at the La Tour Hotel, which is an insane venue. What we want to do is we want to do quarterly events where people will come to every single one. So this one was all about build your brand. So again, it was a whole day, food all day, drinks all day. But it was really about implementation. Like too many people just educate and people walk away with all this education and then they go out into the real world. They don't know how to put it into play. No. So I'd say it was 30% education, 70% practical. So we kind of explained what it was and then we did it with them. So by the end of the day, people walked away with a ton of professional headshots, a video, like a 30 to 60 second elevator pitch video to put out on socials to say this is who we are, this is what we do, this is who we work for, the problem we solve. We helped with their content planning. We helped with so many things, their client avatar, their USPs, like what is it that you do, who do you serve, but more importantly, like what's unique about you. And it's all things that people never thought about. They thought they knew who they wanted to work with, but they were 20 questions away from actually getting the real answer of who that person is. It was like, well, just investors with money. Okay, but where do they live? What's their age group?
It's like workshops where people sit down. Is there a whole day thing? Is it
yeah. So it was 9 till 5. And then after 5 o'clock, we went up to the Sky Bar and we just had casual drinks. And it was a really, really cool day. It was our guinea pig day. And we covered the cost of that one. So that was a cost of $4,000 to us. That was our investment to invite people. And yeah, we're looking forward to putting on the next one because we know what works. We know the format. We did group huddles. So we had tables with experts and people spoke of like problems that they had within their business. And what was great, there was such a different group of people there that actually the solution to the problem was the guy sitting over there, and he's like, let's have a chat because I can help you on that. So even if that was the only thing you walked away with on that day, you've solved the biggest problem in your business. So it was such a cool day. It really was.
So that's interesting. So you have built this whole ecosystem where you've got these main flagship events, you've got the social mixes, you've got the master classes in the middle, you've got the web. So tell us a bit about the webinars as well.
So the webinars. So the webinars were the first thing that we introduced with the social, because we thought it's really hard to keep people's attention for a whole year until the next event comes. So we were like, let's create a virtual event. And that's 4 hours.
4 hours, okay.
4 hours, so it's 6 till 10. First hour we have 4 breakout rooms. So our good friend Kim hosts one because she's the sponsor, so she talks all about finance, any questions people have about finance. Usually one of the speakers that we have on the day will have their own room and they'll be networking with people, and then myself and Michelle will hold a room. And it's great because I didn't anticipate how well people can network virtually. So you've got someone in Newcastle speaking to someone in Devon. They would never meet, but they've met virtually. And then we have 2 hours of talks, and then we have an hour of networking. And a lot of the time I'll go to bed and I'll just leave it live, and I'll come back to it in the morning, and like the last person logged off at like 10 to 1 because people were just still talking. So that worked really, really well. But I think the biggest win for us are the socials. The socials have just been insane. And I think, like you said, we're doing something different. We just launched the Cardiff social last week. 160 people registered.
Wow.
82 people attended. We held that at Flight Club, so the darts place. And what was great about that one is it allows us to do different types of events and networking. So we had an exclusive space, 5 dartboards. Each dartboard has space for 12 people. So we would put people into groups of 12. You network in your 12. And then once that game finishes, then we mix you up. And then it's speed networking again as a 12 whilst having a laugh playing darts. It did get quite competitive as well. Free pizza comes out. So there's pizza all night. And then there's 2 hours of open networking. And it was an incredible event. Like the buzz was insane. And we've just partnered with the company that owns Dirty Martini, who have 10 different brands of bars and clubs and stuff like that. And we are going to be changing it up all over the country now. So we partner with them. They've got the Cocktail Club. They've got, I forget what it's called, something Josephine. They've got Dirty Martini. They've got Familiar. So there's so many venues. Piano Works as well. So there's so many different venues where we can change it up every month so that it's a different experience.
So to date, right now, how have you been doing it in terms of going and finding these venues? Are you literally traveling the length and breadth of the country, or you've got trusted people that you know within your network to go and say, hey, what's the top venue in Cardiff? Because then you're doing ones up in the north, it's like, and then you're doing ones in London.
So we have co-hosts, and what I really wanted to do is I wanted people within the community in my training, people that are really like doing good things, like they're building their businesses, they're growing, they're getting big on socials. We wanted to give them the opportunity to co-host in their location, because then they get to leverage our brand and we get to leverage their local audience as well. So to date, we've got 3 of those. Right. And we are just about to launch Birmingham with our good friend, Mr. Norris, Sam Norris.
Okay, good.
So Sam will be in there. But yeah, it's just having someone there. So I'll probably attend like the first 2 events to get it up and running and everything like that. But the networking's insane. Like Cardiff is the first one outside of England that we've run. I knew one person, and the only person I knew was Shaz. Everyone else was brand new to me except my sponsors. So there was 81 people in that room. So to travel there once a month is well worth it for me, just in the networking and people knowing who we are and what we do. But we got some really exciting things coming up with those socials. And as I said, as long as we can keep them free, I think we're going to be providing some of the biggest value. Like the ones in Manchester, it's free drink and food all night.
You've got a track record of doing these events and just doing really good things and putting good groups of people, attracting a certain type of tribe. You were doing this stuff with Peak Performance. Is that
yeah.
Is that still something? Or is that,
it will be.
Yeah.
I think Aaron and I are both building different things at the moment. Aaron's just launched 2 bits of software, and he's head down raising capital to grow this. He's building an AI app, and so he's really busy with that, and I'm really, really busy with the summit and stuff like that. And I think you just got to look at the audience. Peak Performance was solely kind of entrepreneur and business led. The biggest part of the monetary value for me in my earnings right now all go through the Property and Entrepreneur Summit.
Right.
And that's predominantly property people. But we will definitely be doing some more stuff in Peak Performance, but probably next year.
And when we, I know that you were doing a lot of like deal sourcing stuff as well and mentoring. And how's that all going?
Good. So deal sourcing, not as much at the moment. And that's just, I've got to put my efforts into the thing that needs to grow. The good thing about deal sourcing, the place that I'm at now, because I have a name, I have a platform, I've been doing it for 9-10 years, people know who I am and what I'm looking for. It's almost become a bit of a passive thing. So I've been training people in the way that I do it now, which is literally, I'm just a facilitator. You bring me a deal and I give the deal to someone who can sell it, and I make a margin in between. And that for me is the highest pound per hour way of deal sourcing. Typically the margin I'll make is a minimum of $5,000 in the middle for just passing that deal to someone else.
Yeah.
2 hours work, it's like $2,500 an hour. So I used to earn that when I used to earn $5,000 for doing everything for 6 months. Now I'm in a position where I'm just a connector. I've got so many sources, I've got so many estate agents, so many investment companies. I even work with people like you that have tons of buy-to-let investors and landlords that know people that still want to buy or people that want to sell. So that all fits nicely into the training, because I'm teaching a different side of what we call co-sourcing to people. They've just assumed it's just working with one sourcer. I typically have 3 of us on a deal.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, because it's very interesting, because I remember with the last conversation that we had, and from a deal sourcing perspective, I've come to know more and more about how all this stuff works, and there's a whole world of it. And one of the things that caught my attention was, I mentioned earlier today with somebody else, which was Jamie York. He does these boring buy-to-lets, he calls it. Vanilla buy-to-lets and stuff. They're and they're readily available. You can pretty much pick them up from a local estate agent. It's in the shop window. It's not nothing massively creative. But to be fair, it is slightly better than your average. It's probably one of the best ones that you'll find in that local area. Yeah. And you know it's going to work because the rent's there. And then you'll source them onto a somebody that's either got a very successful business, or they're earning a very high salary because they work in the city or in tech or something, and then he makes a fee off the back of that. Yeah. And I've seen this kind of industry grow a little bit, because we had one of them in the Northeast as well, who the broker couldn't operate, didn't have his license or anything. We were talking about FCA registrations. Yeah. And he brought us like 25 leads in one week. It was crazy. And these were all in the northeast of England, all little 2 up, 2 downs. And they were all being sold to these types of people I was just mentioning to you. And they were making a little fee along the way. And that's a very good business.
It's the reason why I'm not a landlord. Like, people, it's crazy, right? I've been in the game for like 9 years. And people will judge my level of success based on how many properties I don't have in my portfolio. And when you're in a position that you can make sometimes more money on a sourcing fee than that landlord will make in the entire lifetime of their investment in that property, because we're not making profit until we get back our purchasing costs, right? Your stamp duty, your legal fees, like, you don't write those off. You can't say you're in profit when you're not. So you've got to hold those like a solid 10 years until you're in profit, right? Real profit, not the net profit at the end of each month. I've got no liability. I've got no risk. I'm not exposed to regulation changes, tax changes, renters' rights, stuff like that. I can make 5, 10, 15, 20,000 pounds for selling you a deal. It's as simple as that. It's such a simple business model. And I invest it into my business instead of into property, which I have more control over. And it's just, it's crazy. But going back to like the mastermind day, like you said about what Jamie does, when you know exactly what product it is you want to sell and who your audience is, it makes it a lot simpler. So I sell products in the Northeast and the Northwest, but my investor base are within the M25.
Yeah.
And they're within the M25 for a couple of reasons. One, they're cash rich, typically. They're on high money. They're on a London wage. I'm specific that they need to be in directorship or sales roles, so their earnings aren't limited. They get bonuses, they get dividends, they get drawings, so they're going to have pockets of money throughout the year that they can invest. They're what I call uneducated retail investors. So they're people with money that are cash rich, time poor. They want to employ me because they don't want to go up there and do it. And I think the problem I see most sources making is that they source everything on their doorstep and they only work with investors on their doorstep. And what happens is those investors become educated and they're able to do a lot of what they're employing you to do themselves after some time. They can go to the agents and cut you out. They can learn about the market. And it makes it quite difficult. So for me, your client base needs to be someone that's reliant on your service rather than you just showing them deals and they're in a position where they're just like, well, actually, I could get that myself. They're not going to travel 4 hours in the car to go and view a 2 up, 2 down for 100 grand. They're going to look at my deal pack, my video walkthroughs, my pictures, my due diligence, and that's going to be enough for them to make a decision based on the target yield or the return on investment they're looking for.
Because, I mean, just the way that you describe and explain everything, it seems like it's quite clear the difference between somebody who knows what they're doing and they're not, and their ability to explain things so clearly and simply. So if somebody was to challenge you and say, you're really good at that thing, but then you're also doing the events, is it a case of, we're going back to that whole oversubscribed thing? Should you stick to one thing or should you diversify? If you had to pick one or the other, which one would you choose? Like, are you torn between these two things? Do you get more of a kick out of doing the events because a bit of the thrill of the
if I had to choose, it would be the events and the education. And that's not a monetary thing, because believe me, the hours I put into events and the money we earn is not. It's like the perfect ecosystem that feeds each other. People come to the summit, they know who I am. They might buy some training. They might come to another event. People go on my training. Then all of a sudden they come to our events. Like, everything feeds into each other and everything's able to cross-sell. The same with the sourcing business. Like, I'll stand on a stage and introduce myself to 500 people. That's a one-to-many introduction. My inbox will be full of people talking to me about opportunities over the course of 2 weeks after that event. So effectively, I look at all the event stuff as my marketing.
Right, yeah.
That's how we get people into the ecosystem. If there's then joint ventures to be had on the property stuff. But look, I come from my very first job was with my dad in a restaurant. So I come from 5 years working front of house. So that hospitality side is natural to me. So I learnt those skills from the age of 15 years old up until 20. I then studied sales. I went into sales and I became a sales and business mentor for 6 years. And then I came into property because I was training a property investment company and I just didn't leave. And that was my introduction into property. I like property. I don't love property. I love education. I love hospitality. So if I had to choose,
Yeah, I get it.
I would choose that. And that's why it's quite funny, because when I started really pushing my education business, people were like, oh, another sourcer that's done it for a few years and it's easier to sell courses. It wasn't the case. I saw that I was doing it differently, but in the back of my head, I was really missing what I used to do, which was the training. And I thought I can offer a fresh perspective here, because I'm not a property person teaching it in a property way. I'm a salesperson teaching property in a sales and business minded way. And I think that's the difference with what we're able to teach people. Hence the Property and Entrepreneur Summit is the full package of, it's not just about learning the strategy and the knowledge. It's about, this isn't a side hustle. This is a fully fledged business. And if you want it to operate like that with consistent income and everything like that, you need to treat it that way.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that really attracted me to the Property and Entrepreneur Summit was that you split the day into almost two parts where you have kind of like a property side and an entrepreneurial side where, I mean, it's talking about people like Daniel Hill, which he does the property entrepreneur. He's not just teaching you how to do flips or commercial conversions. He's teaching you how to really build.
Have you been before?
No, I haven't. I haven't actually been. He invited me to go.
I would recommend going.
But I know
Dan's
a lot of
event.
other people have done it, and then the way he's explained it, and other people explain it, the way he calls it property entrepreneurs, he's actually teaching business principles within the property sector.
You even have a health nutritionist and personal trainer there who does a talk all about like what should be in your diet, how many times you should exercise, the optimum time to do it, the optimum time of like rest, and like it's everything.
So important, especially when you start getting to your 40s like me.
It's and me, as you know.
Oh yeah, your birthday coming up.
My 30th, yeah. But yeah, like Dan's events, like I was surprised when I went to Dan's event how amazing it was.
Yeah,
like, I was sat there with Michelle when we were like, this is incredible.
Actually, interestingly, so I went up to the Belfry just before he did one of his things. We only went to interview him for Property People.
Yeah.
And it was but off the back of meeting him on the little pop-up that we did with our little studio at your
great.
event.
Well, I'm actually at I've been invited. He does a summer barbecue at his house. His house is insane. It's like a manor house. And this is with his, it's like the board. So like what you were on with Shah as well. But these are like the 40 grand a year mentees. And it's an incredible room to be in. And again, this just like, people ask, like, you do the events and they run at cost and stuff like that. You don't make money. But I'm in the room with people that are paying 40 grand to be there. Do you see what I mean? So like the exchange is far greater because the access to the network that I now have produces so much more money than any kind of ticket revenue would at an event, for instance. We are blessed with the brand that we built, the platform, and just the access that we have to people now.
Here's a magic one question. On the entrepreneur side, if you could magic any entrepreneur to be speaking at the Property Entrepreneur Summit that's alive, I'll stick there because you can go back in time. But yeah, would you have got anyone in mind that you think, oh, I'd love to have them there? I think it'd be somebody that you'd enjoy watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really, really appreciate the support, and it helps me, gives me the motivation to get bigger and better guests on, all for you. I also wanted to let you know that I do have another YouTube channel. It's called Sam Lowney. It's just my name, and it's all about everything that I've learned in property and business over the last 20 years. It has site visits from our Merry Oaks clients, so you can go behind the scenes and see how they're getting on with their projects and the trials and tribulations, the successes that they've had, as well as some tips on my thoughts about the market, about the game of Monopoly, and a whole bunch of other things that bounce around in my head. We have the Monday morning musing, which I do send out on an email as well. But please do check out the YouTube channel at Sam Lowney. We'll have the link in the show notes because that's slightly different stuff, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that too. Otherwise, back to the episode.
I think there's two different types of speakers that I would like. I would like the person to come after lunch that's full of energy to wake everyone up. And I think someone like Hormozy would be incredible.
Yeah, Alex is a good shout.
He would just get the energy up. Everyone would be on their feet. He'd probably get them doing star jump, something like that. And then I think like as a finisher up, if you can get an OG, someone like Branson or Sugar, to really like talk about like the journey, because I've read their books. I mean, like Branson's journey of entrepreneurship from his very first business, setting up like the record label in a phone box, to buying his first aeroplane, and the bank knocking on the door saying, "We didn't say you could do that. Give us the money back. You got 24 hours." Like they're insane stories. So I think they would be like the two likely kind of.
They're a bit older,
people.
these guys now as well. Maybe it was 10 years ago, they would have been probably more accessible. But I think every time I see Richard Branson, he's on Necker Island these days, unfortunately.
Well, this is the
how
same
can
about
you-
Lord Sugar as well, because obviously Peak Performance, we had the collaboration with Lord Sugar and Trademark Wizards for 2 years.
Yeah.
And we desperately tried. He did a few videos for us, which was great, but we desperately tried to get him. And the problem is he's effectively semi-retired now. He's in Florida for 6 months, and then he's here for 6 months. And when he's here, he's working. So it's tough.
They're like Hormozy's more of a like, because he's active, he's in the growth mode, he's doing all that stuff with school and stuff. Like, so when you're building your networks and your communities, are you using any platforms like Circle or School or anything like that? Have you looked into
So
all
we're
that?
partnered with GHL now.
Okay.
Go High Level.
Oh yeah. So
Um,
tell us a little bit about Go High Level and what's that all about, because I see it a lot and I don't really know.
So Go High Level is a CRM. So it's where you like manage your database, but it does so much more because it has the integration for everything else that you might be using. So it effectively becomes one central platform that you use, and everything else just plugs into it. So your card payment links, your emails, your MailChimp, all the different systems that you use plug in. And we've managed to secure an agreement, and we were hoping for it to be finalised for this summit. I'm not sure if it will. But Go High Level will be the main sponsor of the Property and Entrepreneur Summit for everything that we do. And we will be building systems with them that will be plug and play systems for people within property. So I think everyone's struggling to find the right CRM for their business. They get something like Go High Level, they give it a go of like trying to set it up, but they can't set it up properly. They don't know automation, they don't know workflows. So they, after 6 months, they go, it didn't work, it was no good for me. When in reality, if we said, right, this is the perfect system for a property sourcer, this is perfect for a landlord to manage their portfolio on, this is perfect for a developer to track all their expenses, we can create those 3 different avatar systems. And basically, if they sign up with Go High Level through us, we will give those systems away to those people. Those systems are going to cost us maybe 2-3 grand each. That will be our investment into it. But we are going to be basically bringing Go High Level into the UK and the property space.
Yeah, because you mentioned as well.
And they're huge as well, by the way. Like they're a $1 billion company. Like they are huge.
Yeah, so it's a CRM, like, so in line with like HubSpot and Pipedrive and Zoho and those kind of guys, but they're relatively new in terms of kind of like all those other ones I mentioned, the Salesforce, something's been around
These are
forever.
aggressive, right? They're aggressive in their marketing. They will fly people over here to talk at our summit. Like they're active.
Yeah. I mean, this is the wonderful thing I like about hanging around with you, is that you obviously got some property experience in the way that you've just mentioned, but you don't necessarily, you're more kind of like entrepreneurially driven, and that's the attraction.
Property is a product to me. I'm a salesman. That's it, and I'm a salesman without even trying. Like I'm always
unashamedly.
Yeah. I'm always selling. Like on the way here, I'm sorting out a band for my birthday, and even if we agree on a price and I've got £20 off, that's a win for me. But I'm like going straight in with £1,000 off. I'm like, yeah, I want £1,000 off just for an hour's set.
Why is sales so important?
Nothing would happen in the world if there wasn't a sale. Like I'm trying to think who it was. It may have been Les Brown or Brian Tracy, but they basically said a sale takes place in every conversation. Either you sell someone something or they sell you a reason not to buy from you. And it's like silly things, like even like you could look at a sale or a transaction being asking your wife if they want to go to Nando's tonight, and either she says yes and you've completed that sale, or she says no, let's go to Pizza Express, and she's sold to you. Selling reasons as to why people want to do it. And where I grew up in a sales environment, and I talk about sales environment as like hardcore telesales at the very start of my career, very much like, we had 2 days with Jordan Belfort doing straight line persuasion. That was the GOAT, right, back then.
Yeah. I love that stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, it's great stuff, and it's transferable. Like whatever you do, it's transferable. But for me, we would go out as work colleagues, and even if we wanted to go to that restaurant, we couldn't agree with you because you won. And it was great fun. It was great banter. And wherever you went, even if you got a side of onion rings for free, that was a win. Like, it was all about just pitching all the time. And it was really good fun. And people ask me, like, how do you get all these speakers for free? Because the speakers that we get, they're 10, 15, 20 grand, 30 grand speakers. And the honest answer really is, I don't know, other than I just talk to them. And I give them enough reason why there's value in being on my stage, rather than it being transactional and monetary.
So where's the line, right? So because a lot of people think profit's a dirty word. A lot of people think that sales is persuasion of or like conning people and tricking people, let's say.
Yeah.
Where is the line? Because why should people not get the ick when they think about sales?
Nobody likes being sold to. That's the thing. So the key thing is to ensure that they don't feel like they've been sold to. And one of the things that I teach people in the academy is you don't know how to sell to someone until they've told you. And what that basically means is that, like, if we're talking about property, everyone's go-to is that every vendor is motivated by price. But that's not true, right? Like, you've got properties in your portfolio. If, for instance, you've tried to sell those properties through a high street agent and you've had 3 sales fall through because they weren't qualified investors, your motivation might not be price, right? It might be quality of investor. It might be speed of transaction. Like, your motivation has shifted.
Yeah.
So I could waste my entire conversation with you just pitching on price, and I lose you because it's not price that you're looking for. So the key thing at the start of every conversation is asking skillful questions and just being a good listener and listening to those buy-in signals. I do a lot of calls with my mentees. I had 2 guys the other day. They brought a vendor to me that they couldn't close, and they were like, yeah, it's all about price, and like, we've knocked her down and that. And I got talking to her, and it just turned out her husband had just died. They built this portfolio together. This is an emotional attachment that she's finding hard holding on to. And also, it was self-managed. So she's managing 16 properties, and she just doesn't want the hassle. So what she actually needed, it wasn't about the money. Money was still important,
Obviously.
but it was all about what can we do to alleviate all the pressure? How can we make it a smooth transaction? How can we prevent the need for multiple viewings on every single property? More importantly, because she'd self-manage, how can we ensure that the tenants remain in the property and they're not disturbed? But because I asked the right questions in the first 5 minutes, I then knew how to steer that conversation. So it's just about finding what I call pain points and then using solutions within your service or your business to win the business. If you're hardball selling and you keep asking, and in the end someone just gives in and says yes, well, that's different. But you have to work out how to sell to that person. So your questions effectively at the start are, tell me how to sell to you. That's how your questions are.
Exactly. I do firmly believe that people hate to be sold to, but they do love to buy. And they are in the market, they have a need, right? So whether it be the finance, whether they need to find a deal, whether they need some more knowledge, whatever they need, they have that requirement, and they are going to buy it from somewhere.
They will.
So you just have to be able to present your case in a way
there's so many, like, I did one with someone the other day, and they said to me, just this one phrase has completely changed the response I get. And they said that people danced around asking them how much is your fee, how much is your course, stuff like that. And the thing is, we can carry on talking, but I don't want to be the one to bring up what my fee is. It sounds a bit too pitchy, right?
Yeah.
So there are ways and phrases that you can do it to change it. So for instance, we've had a really good conversation. I'll be like, so Sam, have you got like any other questions for me right now? You'll be like, no, I think I'm good. Cool. Okay. So I'm sure you're probably wondering, how much is this going to cost, right? And typically you'll say, yeah. And then you go, that's a really good question, Sam. I'm glad you asked that. And then I go into it. Psychologically now, you've agreed that you wanted to know the answer, and I've congratulated you. It's a great question. But in your head now, you've asked me that question. So now I can go ahead and start talking about it, and it doesn't feel like I've forced that on you. So that's called a mind read.
And it's also like price is rare. Well, it is always important, because if something's out of someone's price range, they're not going to be able to afford it. but it's not the most important thing. It's like price is what you pay, value is
Service.
what you get.
Yeah, yeah.
And you got to be able to talk about the value based on the requirements of that person. It's just so funny because when I started out as an estate agent, I was very good at it. I really enjoyed it. And everybody hated me for it because the estate agents were the most hated profession in the country. And it was all just pure sales. And I never saw it as sales per se, because these people are not going to buy a 2, 3, 4, 500 grand house at the time, 2001, in northeast London, just because I, like an 18, 19-year-old, told them to do it. These people were coming to buy it, but I was making the whole process a lot more enjoyable without really even knowing that I was doing it. I was telling them all the features and the benefits and the proximity here and there. I was just being really, really helpful and enthusiastic about it. And it worked. So I didn't really see it in the same way. So I think that is a really good lesson, actually, for a lot of people. Because I remember you did have one sales guy on stage as well. I forgot the guy's name. But
Dave Angel.
it was a Dave Angel. Yeah, he was very good as well. And I think, again, when you attend all these events, whether it's the training in the mastermind, whether it's the people on stage that you learn from, or you just meet people in the room who've got a background, whether it be in supply chain logistics, whether it be in marketing, whether it be in HR, whether it be you need a network because you need to do a property deal, you need a solicitor. Interestingly, I've got a client of ours, and he's been working on a deal for over a year, and the solicitor is not responding for a year. I'm like, what is going on?
Sounds like an SRA complaint, doesn't it?
Interestingly, he just mentioned it. It's like, do you know this legal firm? I was like, actually, I do, yeah, and I do need some top people there. And he said, well, I've been working, because he said, I need you to refinance these other ones, but this one I'm working on. I put it on there because I'm like projecting it into, it's going to be in my portfolio, but we haven't actually bought it yet, but I'm working on it. It's going to be coming soon. And I'm like, how long have you been working on it? Anyway, you might know someone. I was like, I do know somebody. Managed to speak to that person and unlock what's been happening with it, and it's literally just an undertaking that hasn't been paid or hasn't been communicated or something like that. I was like, I cannot believe it. And it was all by who you know, by being in these rooms, knowing people, and networking.
Communication is everything in a deal.
Communication is everything. So whether you're looking at sales, whether you're looking at expansion, whether you're looking at consolidation, whatever it may be, I've learned a lot from the marketing. I've got some quick fire questions for you.
Go for it.
What was the first thing that you thought about this morning? Just interrupting this episode to let you know that in the show notes you will find a link to a free deal appraisal calculator. It's a buy, rent, refurbish, refinance calculator that I built. I used it over 550 times to find the first few high-yielding income-producing assets that I bought, and it gives you every single cost that you need in there to make it super granular. It also calculates your finance costs, and you can manipulate and tweak the LTGDVs up and down, the arrangement fees, the interest rates. You hit update model, and it will tell you how much cash you are going to make on a monthly basis, as well as your return on capital employed. It also has a section for your incurred monthly expenses if you're doing service accommodation or HMO where all bills are inclusive. It's really comprehensive. I use it myself, and I want you too to use it. Now back to the episode.
The first thing I thought, Christ. Actually, it was sending the invoices out to the sponsors for the summit.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
We'll be getting one of those soon.
Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast?
I don't eat breakfast. I fast until lunch.
You know what? It's become like literally, I think out of 4 people we've had today, you are the 3rd person to say that.
Yeah. I read something about the longer you leave it until you break the fast, the better. So I tend to have a big lunch and then I have a small dinner.
Yeah.
And I try not to snack, but sometimes it's too
now
tempting,
that you're going to
right?
be 39 for life, that's how the future goes. What is your favorite emoji?
Thumbs up.
Happy days. And if you could ask me one question, what would it be?
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one. Right. If you weren't a finance broker, what would you do? Dream job.
Profession-wise, you see, this is a tricky one because in property, to make money, to make money, I'd still probably be still in property. I wanted to be an estate agent since I was 7, 8, 9. Probably be an estate agent.
Really? Full circle.
No, so I mean, I just love property. So I love development. I love finance. And I love estate agency. So like finding the deal, funding the deal, and like adding value through planning or thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, I know that I'm not the best at architecture, planning, law, or construction and hanging doors and painting, painting architraves or whatever it is. I'm just not the best at that. I don't enjoy it the most.
Your fingernails are too clean.
Yeah, exactly. I've just started out as an estate agent in an office, and I think I'm best placed there. So I think I'd probably be doing exactly the same thing to make money. I do really like music. I've kind of like
seen you on your guitar before.
Yeah. I'm not very good at it, but you know what as well. So I used to do like events and club events and this and I took what was a hobby and tried to make money out of it, and I stopped enjoying it as a hobby, and it really depressed me. So the good thing is, the interesting thing is, I think I've really found what I really enjoy making money with, which is property, real estate, being either a service provider or an asset owner. And that I can't think of what else I would make money from other than, I mean, I'd love to be a footballer, but that's not going to happen. So I think it's got to be in the property sector. But I do love things like music or permaculture. Actually, there's one other idea that I've got, which is real estate element to it, which is, I don't know if you've heard of permaculture, but like, the ecosystems we talk about. So a permanent agricultural system whereby you've got, Disneyland, buy a big plot of land and you make an ecotourism land where you learn to live with nature, and it's got all these principles. It's like a farm basically, but it's very much more of a interactive museum theme park. That would be a cool job.
Sounds like a lot of money.
That's why I'm trying to make money out of property, so I can have some investment to go and buy a number of acres.
Or you just raise it. You've got a good idea. There's people that will fund it.
It is a great idea, and I do think that I think it will be a project for a little bit later down the line, but it's definitely something like, Walt Disney, when he was doing those, I kind of read about and studied about how he did those. He did do it later on once he'd built the brand and he had this whole vision and something.
You kind of have a client base then.
Yeah, you've got a whole foundation that you then go and do that thing. So it's on the roadmap, but I need to do a few steps beforehand. And that would be a cool business as well, because I think it's got multiple benefits to it. But good question. I had that one before. What's the best bit of advice you've ever received?
I've ever received.
I think I might have asked you this last time.
No is not personal.
And no is not personal. That is good from a sales point of view. And what's the worst bit of advice you've ever received?
Play it safe.
Very good.
Play it safe. That's from my parents.
Yeah, exactly. They love us, and that's why they do it to us. But it's not always the right thing.
Safe. Go get a real job. Get a wage. Safety.
Thanks, Mum.
Safety.
Property and Entrepreneur Summit. All the socials. I'm going to be at them. We're going to have Mary Oaks and property people there. What's the best way that people could reach out to you and connect with you for all the stuff that you're doing, as well as get involved in the events and get onto the database so that they can get all this information?
So the best thing to do right now, Instagram, Paul Stapleton _official. Click the link in my bio, and that takes you to our link tree. That has every single webinar we're doing, every single mastermind, every single social, everything, even our free downloads, everything. So everything is just in that one place for you to check out. So Instagram, Paul Stapleton _official. Click the link in the bio.
And we'll make sure that link is in our show notes as well.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Wicked.
Always
Thank you,
a pleasure.
Always. Cheers.
Cheers.